Hello everyone, welcome to the 6th episode of Youthcast, brought to you by the Newtown School, Kolkata. I am Harshita Ghosh,
And I'm Anak Pandey.
and today we will be exploring early career pivots, big business milestones, and advices for student entrepreneurs.
We are thrilled to have with us Mr. Gaurav Jalan, who's the CEO and founder of mPokket. He's also an alumni of Columbia Business School and he has empowered the young professionals in our country. Welcome, sir.
So, looking at your background, you had a very prestigious path laid out. You studied at Columbia Business School and worked in global finance. Yet, you chose to build a company that focuses on India's student and young professionals. So, my question to you is that what opportunities did you see in India's youth that others missed? And what has the journey of building a company at now over 20,000 crores disbursed meant to you professionally and personally?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here.
You're most
Thank you,
welcome,
sir.
sir.
I'm very excited to talk to you and to talk to the students here. As you mentioned, it's been a very interesting journey for me. Started my career in global consulting and global finance and eventually ended up starting mPokket. The genesis was something that I saw in my student days in the US. It was something that really I could not ignore once I had come back to India and I saw the contrast.
Right.
When I was a student there in the US, even as an undergraduate, somebody who was just 18 years old, I was able to get a credit card. And although the amount was not very large, the credit limit of the card was not very high, it really helped me manage my day-to-day finances. Contrast that with India, where a college student here would struggle to get any sort of loan, even if they need 1,000 or 2,000 rupees for an expense that comes up, say for paying an exam fee, for buying some books, or any other education related expense. All they could do was really ask their parents, or maybe ask some of their friends who had some cash on hand, and that was the only means that they had to get any extra money in case of emergencies, right? So that's the opportunity that I saw. If a college student in the US is somebody who is eligible to get formal finance, why not college students in India?
Right.
And that was the genesis of mPokket. That's how I started the company, to serve the college student education in India and give them access to formal credit. What I saw when I came back was, the youth were progressing, right? I mean, new colleges are opening up, people are more mobile, their social media is there, everything is there, but this lack of access to credit really stood out like a sore thumb. That is how mPokket came about. It's to meet the aspirations of the youth. It's to make people who are basically invisible to formal finance visible to formal finance. And what do I mean by that? It means giving them their first loan, which then allows these people, when I say people, college students, people who are, let's say, 18, 19, 20 years old, or even, young, maybe they're not in college, maybe they've graduated, but even then, a young graduate also will have a problem today going out and getting a loan from, let's say, a bank. Especially for small amounts, they will not even be entertained. So I think it is helping these people get their first loan, build a credit history, understand what discipline is, and once they build that credit history, they become visible to the formal financial system. Then they can grow, they can over time take larger loan amounts, they can actually apply to banks, and that makes them more eligible more quickly in their career to get finance for whatever reason they may want it.
Sir, I personally think you've chosen such a noble line of work and it has helped many students and young professionals. There are many aspiring entrepreneurs watching this podcast right now. Could you take us through your biggest strategic mistakes so they can avoid making similar mistakes in their journey?
So one mistake I made early on was believing that a good product explains itself. And then what I realized is that that's not necessarily the case, especially in financial services. You really need to help users and guide them so that they can understand the terms and the way to use the product.
Correct.
So this is what we call responsible credit. Other than this, I think the other point that I would focus on is operational processes. It's very important to focus on process and not just growth. Because growth alone is good, it helps build things up. But then you find that if you're just focused on speed, you often break things in the process. So having good systems, having good processes really helps scale a business and makes it more sustainable. So that would be my advice to young entrepreneurs.
So, as we know, that every leader has their own way of making tough decisions. Over the years, what has guided you the most when you were faced with a critical choice?
So I ask myself 3 practical questions. The first is whether it's right for the customer. The second is whether it's right for the business in the long term. And the third is whether it's right for the company culture. There are often decisions that give you some benefits immediately, but hurt things in the long run, whether it is customer trust, whether it is company economics or company culture. And those decisions are never worth it.
So now moving away from more of the serious questions, I want to ask you a light-hearted question. Do you think success has changed you as a person, or are you the same Gaurav Jalan you were before mPokket?
So I think what has changed is my perspective. Having built the company and run it now for almost a decade, what I have seen is the potential for impacting the lives of people. And that really has given me a sense of responsibility because as a business you have multiple stakeholders. You obviously have your customers, but they are not the only stakeholders. You have employees, you have other external stakeholders, you have society at large. So I think what I do appreciate now, after having run this business for a decade, is really what that responsibility means and what I should do with that responsibility.
Okay, got it. So that brings me to my next question, and that is, you have worked with ultra high net worth individuals and corporations. And today you lead a company focusing on empowering India's youth. So, what is your personal definition of rich? Is it different from the definition most of us grow up with?
So my definition of being rich has evolved over time. Financial security is definitely important, but that's not the only thing. I think what matters is also freedom and purpose. So freedom means the ability to be able to make choices without fear, and purpose means being able to work towards what you really want, to solve the things and the problems that you really want to. So I think to be rich, other than just being financially secure and having financial means, you should also have the freedom to make the choices you want and live your life with purpose.
AI is transforming industries at an unprecedented pace. Do you think AI could replace employees, or it can become an asset to the employees?
So I think the era of AI is like the era of the internet that came in the late 90s. The world is definitely going to change, and it's going to be about how the world and people specifically adapt to this change. We have been using AI now for years in our own business to underwrite customers at scale. It hasn't made our people less important, because it is the people who design and manage these underwriting models that are AI driven.
Right.
Now AI is effectively gaining many more use cases. There are so many more things you can now do with AI because of how the technology has evolved. I think the key for young professionals is going to be how they adapt to this era of AI and how they learn to use AI to do their daily tasks. AI is not going to completely replace people. Yes, it will replace manual repetitive tasks. So what professionals need to do is to move beyond manual repetitive tasks and learn how to use AI to make more intelligent decisions and create more output within the same time period and using the AI tools. And I think that is what will make people more relevant in the AI era.
Sir, if I asked your closest friends and colleagues to describe you in 3 words, what would they say?
I think the 3 words would be focused, ambitious, and resilient. Focused because I tend to really lock into a particular problem and try to find all means to solve it, and I don't rest until I've done that. Ambitious because I truly believe, and having tasted the impact that can be created, I truly believe that if you have the means and the ability, you should try to do as much as possible. So that's where the ambition comes from. And resilience, because that is the backrock of any kind of successful endeavor. You have to just keep at things. Life will keep knocking you down, throwing you challenges. You have to learn to get back and stay on that path.
Right.
So, sir, those three words, they paint a great picture. And in the spirit of keeping things grounded, I come to my favorite question. What is the most unfounder-like thing you do on a normal day?
So I like to meditate, just be with myself. I like to spend time with my family, just sit down, have a meal together, play some board games, just talk. Those are things that help me disconnect
Absolutely.
and helps me, I think, eventually be a better person and a better entrepreneur.
Adding on to Harshita's question, I want to ask you, sir, what's something completely random that makes you laugh, no matter how stressful things get?
I think it's recalling the light-hearted moments. You might be in a situation of stress, you're trying to make a decision, and everything seems, very complicated and extremely important. Like if you don't get this one thing right, what's going to happen. But then you recall some light-hearted moments from the past, and that makes you laugh, and that makes you just much more carefree, and makes you remember that life is much more about the decisions you're making in that very moment.
So laughter definitely helps manage the pressure. But looking at the bigger picture today, stress and burnout are massive topics right now. And many young professionals, they struggle with work-life balance. So my question to you is it realistically possible to have a healthy work-life balance while consistently pursuing hobbies and ambitions? Or do you think that idea is largely idealized?
I think work-life balance is very much possible, but in a slightly different way. I mean, I don't believe in the term work-life balance. I believe balance in life is certainly possible, but there is actually no distinction, or there should be no distinction between work and life, because work is part of your life.
Right.
If you see work as something that is distinct, then you need balance with life. But if it is part of your life, which it ideally should be, then there is no balance required. Balance comes automatically. And balance comes from your own life's purpose. We all should do things that are aligned with the purpose that we have, which means these are things that we will truly enjoy doing. If you're
Absolutely.
doing something that you enjoy in an environment that you enjoy, with people that you like, then that should not be something that requires you to be disconnected from. Then the balance between doing that, going out with friends, spending time with family will automatically come. And I think that is the balance that we all need to strive for. How do we live a life of purpose? Then this concept of work-life balance itself dissolves.
Correct.
For many young people, you're more than a successful entrepreneur. You're a role model. So, if there was one value or belief you could pass on to the next generation, what would it be? And what is the legacy you'd want to leave behind?
I would advise students to not be bogged down by expectations and by traditions. You need to live up to your own potential, your full potential. And if you do that, there is nothing that can stop you from being happy and achieving whatever success you want. In our business, we've tried to contribute to that by backing student entrepreneurs, giving them the access that they need, giving them the education that they need in how to use credit responsibly, so that it helps them embark and be on this journey of realizing their potential.
Right.
We've tried to not be bogged down by the traditional systems that required people to do certain paperwork, have certain legacies, have certain documentations in order to access credit. So that's been our small way of contributing to this journey for students and young professionals. But ultimately, it's their own journey, and it's ultimately about living up to their potential.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. And on that inspiring note, we have come to the end of today's episode. Mr. Jalan, thank you so much for sharing your journey and such invaluable advices with us today.
And I would like to also thank the viewers watching at home, and a huge thank you to the team here at Youthcast for making this video possible. And for the viewers watching at home, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next episode.
Thank you very much for having me. It
was
was a pleasure.
privilege having you on the show, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.